a thumbs up or let me know in the chat or something to know that you have the checkpoint up and you're looking at part one, section one.
Okay, so I'm recording now. Connor, did makeup come in for you or makeup and lighting?
No, I had to do it on my own. Thank
Hi,
you, Brianna.
Brianna.
Hi.
How are those babies?
My baby's good.
Thank you, Crystal.
Hi, Angela. Nice to see you.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good.
That's great.
Oh, Miss Sandy, you probably need this.
Do you want me to pull sum it up, Mr. Sheen, or do you want me to share my screen with you? How do you want to do this? Do you want me to give you permission to?
Yeah, why don't you give me permission in case I need to pull it up?
Alrighty.
Sandy and Miss Christie, I'm sending you a link right now to the checkpoint we're working off of. Oh, nope.
Oh, Brianna. Oh, I have the wrong one. Thank you, Sandy. Okay. Now I know.
So we'll look to start discussing the results of your political ideology quiz in about 2 minutes.
Welcome,
Xavier.
Xavier.
Well, that's not who I meant to message at all. Sorry about that, Christy. Xavier, are you I don't even know if you're enrolled in this class.
Yeah,
Xavier,
yeah.
can you?
He is.
He is? Okay. So Xavier, we're working on checkpoint 3, part 1, section 1 right now.
Xavier, did you enroll, use the enrollment code and everything?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's in.
So why don't we finish up our questions here? Let's wrap it up and come back together. And I'm curious, one, I guess first, how did you have any of you taken quizzes like this before and what did you think? They're okay.
You can put your answer in the chat if you prefer.
Brianna, what made it just okay?
I feel like I don't mind it, like
Mm.
taking those quizzes.
Was there a question, Brianna, that you found particularly difficult?
No.
No, you found it pretty easy to answer.
Yeah.
Did you get the results that you expected?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'll say yeah.
You'll say yeah.
Mhm.
I think when I took this, I also found that I got the results that I expected. Was anyone surprised? You can just write yes or no in the chat if it's easier to do it that way. Brianna Cox, I'm sending you a message in the chat right now. Xavier, did you have the results that you expected? Did you find any question particularly harder than another question?
I didn't even start.
You didn't even start?
I'm so confused.
You're confused? All right, well, how are you confused, Xavier? Let me help you get caught up here.
Hold on.
Are you on
Honest-
Summit, Xavier?
Yeah. You're not supposed to go like on a website.
Yep, so I was supposed to take you to a quiz.
Telling me to add an extension. Supposed to do all that.
You might have to. I didn't have to on mine, but
I did on mine. There was a whole bunch of technical steps of adding a Chrome extension. I
Oh my
could see the
goodness.
questions, but I couldn't do anything with them. So I had to do that same process.
oh geez.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Okay. Well, why don't we just we can
You
put a
could-
time up here because this was just supposed to be our quick do now, and I don't want to spend too much more time on it.
Do you want to share your screen so we can just see the questions that
Sure, I can do that.
we were asked?
Mhm.
Because mine just came up kind of amid 100 advertisements and other things. I couldn't see them.
So these are the questions it asks, right? Protecting the environment is a primary responsibility that we have, regardless of how it affects businesses. And these are just a series of questions that you're asked, and most of them ask you to do like a gut response to be like, yes, I think this is true, or like, no, I think it's not. And depending upon how you answered these questions, generally puts you in one of two categories. You are either on the liberal or progressive side. Progressive is actually the term that I prefer, but liberal is a term we use a lot. And then the conservative side. And in today's world, generally, Democrats are more progressive and liberal, and Republicans are more conservative. And so, depending on how you answer these questions, it would put you into that one box or the other. So if you see the gay marriage question up here, gay marriage should be legal and given the same rights as a heterosexual marriage. If you selected that, you would fall on the liberal side according to this quiz. If you said it should not be legal, marriage has to be between a man and a woman, then you would fall more on the conservative side. The reason that that's important is because a lot of political ads cater very specifically to one group of people or the other. And that's what we're going to be looking at in this checkpoint. So let me stop sharing my screen. Get back to my checkpoint. All right, and before we dive in today, what I want to say is that we have in this class done a really phenomenal job participating with the lesson, reading, answering questions, sharing our thoughts. I know this is our first class back from February vacation, So we need to knock that rust off and pull the cobwebs out of our brain and get ready to engage fully in this class. Give me a thumbs up or a check yes or something if you are ready to do that today. Thank you, Miss I. I appreciate the enthusiasm. Thanks, Xavier. Thank you, Giselle. Okay. If we could all now scroll down to section 2, titled Define the Following Terms. We're going to do this as a bit of a jigsaw. So some of you were in my class this morning. Giselle and Angela, you were both in my class this morning. Brianna, yes, we'll see you in a few. When you're ready to sign back in, just come on back.
Mr. Connor, do you want to share your screen so we can see that?
I can. So everyone should be looking at this piece in their own checkpoints. And I'm going to assign everybody a word. You're going to find the definition for that word. You're going to find an image that illustrates your definition. And then we're going to share it out as a group. This is something that we have done before in this class, and we actually did this morning. Some of you in our racing class. All right, so let me just pull up my list here. So Angela, I'm going to ask you to find free market. I'm going to write these all in the chat. And once you get your word, you can just mute yourself, find your word, and we'll come back in 2 or 3 minutes. Andy, and then finally, regulations. I need to find a faster way to do this. So your assigned words are right now in the chat. We'll shoot to come back at 1:22, where we'll share our definitions and our images. There is a link right there on the table to bring you to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Keep in mind, you're looking for the definitions that relate to politics and government. We have about 1 more minute. If you can just give me a thumbs up, a check yes, or raise your hand to let me know when you're done. And if you need more time than 30 more seconds here, just ask for more time in the chat, please. All right, so let's all come back. Angela, have you found a definition for free market?
Yeah.
Okay.
I put an economy operating by free competition.
Nice. Could you just copy and paste that definition into the chat so that everybody else can fill it in on their tables?
Yeah. And did you want me to share my screen to show the picture?
Perfect. Share your screen so we can see your image.
Okay. I don't know. It's the pic. Could you see it?
Yes.
Okay, that's the picture that I.
Oh, that's a cute little cartoon. Thank you, Angela. And now who's next? Brianna, could you share your definition for defense? And then Crystal, you're next with private sector.
Action of defending.
You were breaking up for me, Brianna. I couldn't hear you.
She can write in the chat, maybe. There she
Oh,
goes.
there she goes. The action or action of defending. Mhm. And in this sense, it's like defending the country. So it pertains particularly to the military. And then who is next here? Crystal, could you share your definition on private sector? And then Xavier, you are next. Oh, Crystal, are you there?
She put in the chat.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I need to scroll all the way down. Thank you, Crystal. Crystal, could you share your screen just so we could see the image you chose? Crystal, could you give a quick explanation of why you chose this scale for private sector? Okay, she texted me she didn't know. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Why don't?
About it?
Yeah, go ahead, Miss Sandy.
What I saw in the scale is that it looked like private sector was separate from the government, which I think if there's like one thing I want to remember about the private sector is that it is not publicly funded. It is separate from the government. So that's one, even though they're in different places, I think just showing that they're entirely different entities was helpful for me.
And then we have Xavier, you're up with New Deal. And then Miss Sandy, you're next with Progressive.
Man, man. Do I share my screen?
Yeah, if you could share your screen so we can see your picture.
How do I do that? Let me see. Hold on. How do I share my screen?
You should have a green button on the bottom of your Zoom screen that says share screen.
I see.
And then you'll want to share the application, typically probably Google Chrome. Oh, nice. So read that definition loud and proud, Xavier.
Yeah, all right, listen. The legislative and administrative program of President F.D. Roosevelt designed to promote economic recovery and social reform during the 1930s. The legislative.
Oh, you cut out. You still there, Xavier? Oh, it looks like you're talking, but it's not picking up on your microphone.
You can't hear me?
No, oh, I can hear you now.
So y'all didn't hear me reading?
I heard you reading all the way up to during the 1930s.
Yeah, that's it. It copied it in.
Got it. And so if you can copy and paste that into the chat, Xavier. And Xavier, do you know who that dashing gentleman is right there?
Yeah, President F.D. Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm. And just while we're on the topic, Xavier, have you heard of the Green New Deal?
Second?
Have you heard of the Green New Deal?
No.
No, so that's like our new, if you've heard of AOC or folks like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, like they are pushing to create a new Deal that is focused on making our infrastructure more green and environmentally friendly. We have two more. Miss Sandy, could you share your definition for progressive? And then Yazel, you're going to finish us off with regulation. Xavier, could you stop sharing your screen for me, please? Thank you.
Okay, so for progressive, this is what it took me a minute to get to the like political person progressive. So I found someone who believes in political change, especially social improvement by government action. So I was thinking about whole government actions that protect people or help all people move forward. And I'll show you the image that I chose. So I chose this image of, let me make this bigger, saying defend DACA, which is that unfortunately Obama couldn't get it through the whole government, but he signed an executive action to protect his deferred action for late arrivals. So people who came to the United States as young children under the, I think like 2 and 3, under the age of 5 maybe. So they're protected here. It wasn't their choice to come here, but here they are. And the government protected them that they can stay here and have access to education and healthcare and other things. So people who support DACA would be considered progressive. Deferred action for childhood arrivals. That's what it stands for.
Deferred action is what I was trying to.
Action, sorry.
And then, thank you, Miss Sandy. If you could just make sure that definition, oh, you did put it in there already. And then last but not least, Yazel, could you share your definition for regulations?
Yeah, okay, wait, hold on. Oh my God, okay.
Do I read it or?
Yep, if you read it out loud and then paste it into the chat for us.
Okay. Regulation and government, a rule or mechanism that limits, steers, or otherwise controls social behavior.
Okay. And why did you choose that image, Giselle?
I don't know, because it just separates like a certain group of people to a different, like, I don't know, I don't know. I just put it because it looked interesting. Like it was part of the whole thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right on. I mean, it looks to me like those two lines are the regulations, right? And it's putting one group over here and one group over there. And that is like exactly what we're talking about, right? It's rules or mechanisms that limit, or you found the word steers, which I think is a really great definition here.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you everyone for that. We're going to need those definitions and be thinking about those definitions as we continue on here, because those things generally are more important to certain groups than other groups, right? Typically, military defense is important to conservatives, and programs like the New Deal are important to progressives or liberals. For the next piece of class here, we're going to watch a video. So stay with me until I finish all of my directions, but then we're going to work on our own and come back together. So this video here is actually, why don't I make sure we're all on part 1, section 3. So if everybody could give me a thumbs up when you're on part 1, section 3. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I just shared my screen and it should look much like this. Thank you, Brianna. Oh, you're back, Brianna. That was fast. Thank you, Miss Sandy. Thank you, Christy. Looking for Xavier and Giselle.
Xavier put in the chat hand raise emoji, but he wrote it out, which is funny.
All right, Xavier. And then Miss Briggs, I know you're new here, so when we get everyone else going on section 3, Miss I and I will work with you and make sure you're all caught up. So what we're doing here with section 3 is we're going to watch this video on political ideology. This is a crash course video. So if you have never seen it before, it goes quickly. Because of that, all the analysis questions that I've given you, which have green backgrounds, all have the time periods for the video of when you should be able to find that answer. So for instance, what is the primary political virtue of liberals? You'll find that at the 4-minute mark of this clip. These green questions are all analysis questions that you're going to need the video in order to answer. And then you'll see the yellow questions down the bottom of that table. Those are your thinking and explanation questions. And they're all linked to the analysis questions. So you're going to see what are the 4 agents of political socialization. And then I'm asking you, do you believe that any of these agents of political socialization have impacted your political beliefs? The questions in yellow are the ones I'm going to ask you to share out. So be prepared to share and discuss those when we come back together as a group. Can I get a thumbs up or a check yes, or let me know in the chat that you are ready to go and work on your own? So Brianna, on the bottom of your screen, you should have a button that says reactions. It might be hidden under a more tab. Thank you, Xavier. Looking for Crystal or Giselle. Are you still with us? Thank you, Giselle. Okay. feel free to dive right in. Make sure you make sure you're muted so we're not all hearing us play the same video. The video itself is just over 8 minutes long, almost 9 minutes long. So why don't we give everybody, why don't we plan to come back here at 1:45? I'll check in at 1:45 and see if we're ready. Well, that's not really enough time. Mr. Sheen, you need to add better than that. We'll come back at 1:47. Or at 1:47, I'll check in and see if we are ready to come back, I should say. And now, okay. Let me stop sharing my screen.
I'm setting a timer, Mr. Connor.
Thank you. Miss I, could you put me and Miss Briggs in a breakout room and I'll get her, make sure she's enrolled and everything here?
I can do that, but I don't know how to make a breakout room.
Oh geez, that is,
I
I don't know what button you're supposed to. You should have a, do you have a make a breakout room on the bottom of your Zoom screen?
No.
Maybe if you have like a more button all the way to the right.
I don't have a more button. Would it be hiding somewhere else?
I don't think so. I mean, I wonder if you have breakout rooms disabled or something.
I don't know. I've never been able to make one and I haven't had to.
That's okay.
Maybe now is not the time.
Yeah, we won't have to figure it out today.
I'm available after class.
Okay.
But let's see, who do we have now that we want to get?
Miss Briggs is brand new. K-Ray, is that how I say that?
Yes, K-Ray. K-Ray is one of my students from Food Rev.
Oh, okay, great.
So K-Ray, you should, you're enrolled, right? Can you hear us? K-Ray, did you enroll? I think you did. I saw his name when I assigned him.
Oh, geez. I think I was calling Miss Briggs. Sorry about that, K-Ray.
I'm not getting any response from K-Ray.
when I look in Summit at I don't see anyone with that name there. I see Kimani Briggs, but I don't see any other Briggs in your class in Summit.
And Miss I, you had K-Ray and Food Rev this morning?
I did, but that's, he's not enrolled here.
Okay.
He's enrolled in Food Rev. K-Ray, can you hear us? No, he is not enrolled here. Let's see if he will unmute. I'm not getting any response from K-Ray. He was responsive in Food Rev and he did a lot of reading. So I'm going to guess maybe he is not actually there.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep trying, I guess.
Sandy, after class, can we walk through making a breakout room on here?
Sure, sure, sure.
Because I don't see it. I don't,
It might just be like Connor said in your settings. Maybe you don't have it turned on for yourself. Because you would see it down at the bottom. Or I guess if you're the one, oh, you're not sharing your screen. I was gonna say it could be at the top, but that's only when you screen share.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually letting Connor share.
Brianna says, I can't hear the video. I can only hear you guys.
Sorry, hon.
All right. Folks, we have 5 minutes left and then we're going to come back together. Folks, this is our 2-minute warning before you all come back together. If you need another minute or two, though, please let me know in the chat. I haven't heard back from anyone, so I'm assuming we're all going to be ready to share our thoughts on those last 3 questions in just about 1 more minute. Okay. It's 1:47. Let's look at these 3 questions. Let me hook this up here. Who do we got here? Is anybody willing to share their thoughts on that first question? Do you believe that any of these agents of political socialization have impacted your political beliefs? And if you'd rather share your thoughts in the chat, that's fine. And if you need another 30 seconds or so to wrap up your thoughts, that's fine too. Just let me know. Maybe not. Is anyone still here?
Yeah.
Yes, Giselle, I knew it. I knew you wouldn't abandon me in my darkest hour here. So Giselle, did you get to answer those 3 sort of thinking questions at the end?
He talks fast.
Oh, I talk fast. Sorry.
No. The guy in the video talks
Oh
fast.
yeah, I know. It's like their style of video. I love them. They're very like.
Yeah, he was
What
funny,
he does
but
The other guy who does them is even faster. This is actually the slow guy, believe it or not. Did you make it that far, Giselle, or do you need another minute?
no, I watched the full video.
Okay. So what did you think about the agents of political socialization and how they impact your political beliefs?
Well, he did say that people like choose and pick on what side they want to be and stuff. Like yeah. I'm gonna just say clear stuff because yeah.
Do you think, let's skip to this one. The last 2 I think are maybe easier to think about because they're a little more specific. He talks a lot about how how economic self-interest shapes the way that people think politically. Do you think that, how much money people have or what they do for a job could really influence them, like their own political thoughts?
Honestly, no. I
Okay.
don't think it defines because it doesn't. I mean, I guess you could say it matters, but it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, just because you work something, like for example, I'm gonna put my parents on blast, even though, you know, but my parents didn't finish high school and they work in factories and stuff, but that doesn't define who they are as a person.
Mm.
Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like I know you guys get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I don't think like the amount of money they make is like, something that defines them or
Hmm.
yeah.
Does anyone agree or disagree with that? That like the money, and let me take a step back, actually, I think, Giselle, because it's not not necessarily like defining who they are, but thinking about how people vote based on how much money they make. like, do you think because of what your parents do for their job, that is part of why they voted for whoever they voted for?
No.
Have you ever heard of things like, oh, I don't know, like, teachers are generally more progressive in terms of their political ideology, or
I mean, it depends on whoever has like, I guess, education on it or like research on it or like if you're up to date on it. I guess you just have to have like background information on what you're doing and who you're voting for and why this person is the person you want to choose to take over or whatever. Yeah, y'all know what I'm saying.
I do know what you're saying, and I love this like utopian democratic society you're talking about, where we all have the time and like resources to make really thoughtful decisions with how we vote. Think about the last election though. Do you think rich guys generally voted for Biden, or do you think rich guys generally voted for Donald Trump?
I mean, I can't speak for anybody. I personally, I don't know. If I was able to vote, I know I would have voted for Biden because I don't know. It's just like knowing that he was president and like everything that happened throughout those 4 years, it was just negative. Like some of them outcomes were positive because some of the things he did was good, but then the majority of it, like the negative, took out the positive. So it was like, I don't know, but the rich guys, they probably would have voted for Trump just because, yeah, but I don't know.
I think Giselle, you're doing an excellent job like answering these questions from a very like political, not taking sides, saying mean things about people's standpoint, and I respect that. But I think generally we would assume that as a society, wealthier people vote Republican, specifically people who work in banks or people who work in like the oil industry or the shipping industry tend to vote conservative because they believe generally that a conservative government, a Republican government, will impose less regulations and less taxes on them. Now, this last question I personally find very interesting. And do you think, and Giselle, you or anyone else can feel free to answer this, to like what extent does gender impact how you think politically?
Um, Honestly, since back then, because women had no rights or whatever, all that, and honestly, basing it off of like this political thing that just happened with Biden and Trump or whatever, I feel like people felt more attracted to like Biden's side because of the woman, I don't know her name, but what's her name? The black lady, no, not to be racist or whatever.
Kamala Harris.
Yes, her. I feel like a lot of people felt inspired by her and stuff. So they like there's just something that clicked with them or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying stuff because nobody's saying anything, so I don't kind of be like that person. But yeah,
That's okay. I appreciate it.
Nobody
Xavier,
says
you
it
still
better
with
than you, Giselle.
Xavier or Brianna? I know you. I think I saw a message from you in the chat.
What's the question, mister? Does gender affect how people vote?
Yeah, so to what extent do you think gender correlates to political ideology? Do you think that women tend to vote one way and men tend to vote another way? And I only want to spend about 2 more minutes talking about this. And I'd love to hear Xavier's thoughts or Brianna's thoughts or Crystal's thoughts. We do need to talk about it because the second half of this checkpoint is all about like who are these politicians and these ad makers appealing to with thank you, Zell. It's going to be a long 3 minutes. But we need to be thinking about who these political ads are appealing to. You know, are they appealing to wealthy people? Are they appealing to progressive people? Are they appealing to women? And like how and why are they doing that?
Okay, I'm about to offer some serious Noel bucks. Okay, big time.
Miss Sandy just wrote in the chat that she's surprised by women who are really conservative. And I also am often surprised by women who are very conservative. There was I think she was a representative from Colorado this year who said she was going to wear her gun like into the US Capitol building. Was that right? Is that Colorado? And so it's like this interesting thing, I think, that happens. This is Connor Sheehan's own like observation, is that if women are conservative, they are often extremely conservative. And it's really interesting. We only have 1 minute left in class. And so I think we're going to save this. There's an analysis toolkit that we'll walk through, but we'll save that. My idea here is that grows with us as we move along here. So we'll save that until next class. I hope that those of you who were quiet were still following along as best as you could. I'll remind everyone that the way Miss I and I are trying to run our class is that you'll finish part 1 at the end of the day Tuesday, you'll finish part 2 at the end of the day Thursday, and when you leave our class Thursday afternoon, you should be all done with that checkpoint for the week. I know some of you are behind, so please, please, please reach out to Miss I and I, or I, before we get before you end up too far behind and have to dig yourself out of a big hole.
So we are available with office hours. Check it out. Come and see us if you have questions, if you're new to the class and you need to be caught up. Don't hesitate. We're here, we're ready and willing. Try to come to class with the idea that you'll participate. This is a class on civics. Your voice is important.
All right, folks, thank you so much. And I'll see you on Thursday.
And I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you.